Yo, hopefully this doesn't lag or anything, but let's Marques Brownlee, apparently the FBI investigated him. They knew Marcus Brownlee's an alien. I'm sorry, but he's an alien. He got that advanced technology and stuff. So let's check it out.
So, I've made a few references over the past couple years to that time that the FBI visited the studio. And I was asked not to talk about that for what I feel like are pretty obvious reasons.
Of
So,
course, I'm
for
gonna say
years,
that.
I haven't. But it turns out I am now finally able to tell that story.
FBI.gov business Emma. Imagine this is a fake email, and it's just a random dude trolling him just to just to get this man in trouble. That'd be crazy.
So, here we are. So, for those of you who don't know, we have a studio here, and it's in a larger
That's a big
building
ass
with
studio.
more tenants in it. Obviously, it's like an office building. It's not exactly like an office building, but there's a front desk and security and all that. And I've been in this building long enough that we have a pretty good
You also remember
relationship with them.
Max?
So, we have this one rule basically. So, there's the
Escape
guy
video.
at
I'm not doing
security
it.
at the front desk. We'll call him Bob just for this, but Bob and I have this one rule, which is that if anyone ever shows up at the front desk and asks for me, that he doesn't let them in. I have to come out and meet them to confirm that I was expecting them, and then I bring them back to our studio. So if someone just randomly shows up, which you shouldn't, but if they do,
I'm about to show up, Marcus. I'm gonna show up because I'm a big fan. I'm a diehard. You know what's crazy? I every time before this new iPhone, I always watch him to review the iPhone and see if I should upgrade. And I made that upgrade because I'm gonna be honest. I've been using this iPhone 8 Plus for a minute. I just recently upgraded from this to the 15 Pro, and best believe I watched this video on the review on the Pro Max,
and I don't show up at the front to meet them, then
which
I
is
wasn't
honestly the
supposed to
camera
meet
I'm
them.
using right now to
If I
record
have
this.
someone coming and I expect them, I meet them outside. That's our one rule, and we stick to it. So in June 2020, it was pretty
Oh, this
early
is
in
back
this
in
new space that
2020.
we have, and it's also right around like peak COVID. So I had sent everybody
Damn.
home, and it was just me and Andrew coming into the studio to work on basically building furniture and making videos and recording the podcast every week. So I
We
got
got
here
a
pretty
record.
early on one of those summer mornings, and I'm starting to get all my stuff settled. And then there's a knock on the door. So I open the door, and it's our front desk guy, Bob. And Bob basically says, "Hey, Marquez, there's some people with badges at the front desk to see you. I, of course, didn't let them
Yo,
in."
imagine that. You're chilling at home, and they get a knock in the front door, and your mom comes in your room saying, "Hey, there's people with badges here to get you, bro." That's when you know the PlayStation party got leaked.
But if you would like to, they're up there.
I'll run out the window.
And then he just walked away. And my first thought is confusion. I'm like, what?
Bro, they know you
What
got
did I
that
what did I
alien
do
technology.
on the way here that someone with badges would show up asking for me? I'm a little concerned. I'm not sure what to think. So there was a
They
solid
know you
minute
got
where I
that
just like
aliens,
stood there in
bro.
the doorway like, okay, do I go up there or do I just stay here in the studio without asking who the people with badges are? Eh. And then I just went up to the front. I went up to the front desk, and sure enough, there's three people with badges there, and they walk right up to me, and they all like flash their badges, FBI, just like the movies, like FBI agent this, IRS agent this.
FBI, open up. Damn. IRS agents be going to places too? I thought it'd just be the I mean, obviously they probably do, obviously. There's people who deadass don't be paying taxes for some reason, committing tax frauds and stuff. How would you do that? I certainly don't do that.
And
I really don't.
they're like, Marquez,
Don't show up to my crib.
good to see you.
IRS.
We've got some questions for you about the Escobar phone. So immediately I'm relieved, but I'm like, oh, oh,
When did he get that?
the Escobar
He had Pablo Escobar's phone? When was this?
phone.
What
Oh,
arc am I
because see, a few
missing?
months earlier, I had published a video about the Escobar fold. If you guys haven't seen that video, basically the story goes there's this
Oh,
this company parading around and selling this $400 gold folding phone,
I
which
thought it
they're
was like
gonna
the actual
use to
Pablo's Escobar
destroy
phone.
Apple and Samsung, and they had these insane marketing campaigns and all this. But really what they were doing, as I
He got
uncovered in
Pablo.
my video,
Look, he got Pablo Escobar. Look at that. He cheesing, bro. He cheesing, bro.
But really what they were doing, as I uncovered in my video, was covering Samsung Galaxy Folds cheaply with like gold stickers and then shipping them to YouTubers and people who they believe would talk about it positively. And then
Ain't no way. That's crazy.
not shipping any of the other orders from regular people or the audiences that watch those videos. Those people were getting scammed out of their money. And honestly, in hindsight, I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with this. Like, it felt pretty obvious to me, but
I wonder what happened to the
eventually their whole
company.
plan backfired when I made a video about the entire thing. So now fast forward a couple months, and it actually makes sense that the FBI and the IRS are interested. I didn't realize they were just gonna show up one day, but here we are. But shout out to Bob at the front desk for sticking to our rule. Even though he probably had a bunch of people like flash FBI badges at him, he stuck to our
Shut up, Bob. He a real one. He did not fold. I would have folded. Because, I definitely have papers. If you guys were wondering.
rule.
I'm just saying I would have folded too.
Great. So I appreciate that. But yeah, so I came out, I brought them back to our spot, and they basically then had a bunch of questions about that video and the process of dealing with that company in any way, like any and all communications that I had with them, any email I'd ever sent or received from them ever. They wanted everything. And actually, it was funny, another tidbit is Andrew at the time had just started running the business email account here, and when they were asking, like, has anybody else on your team possibly ever been in email communication with this company? And I was like, I think Andrew might have. And Andrew just had arrived at the studio and walked up to the front door of our spot. And so I go, hey, come in. And first thing he sees is like me in an empty studio with a bunch of people in suits, like waving him over. So he has a pretty funny alternate perspective on this story. So the FBI actually took the half-peeled Escobar fold and the scratched.
It was like off topic, but like, see, this is like a milkshake, right? Like the Chick-fil-A milkshake, they're good and stuff. Am I the only one that puts this in a freezer and waits for the milkshake to turn to ice cream and just eat it like this? I feel like it tastes way better like this. I was just, yeah,
Gold
making conversation.
iPhone from my videos as evidence in the case. They literally asked for them and took them away. They put them in sealed plastic bags that said evidence on them, which is why I said at the end of the Smartphone Awards that year. Also, honorable mention to the Escobar Fold 2, which I also don't have on this desk because it is in the possession of the FBI. Someday I'll be able to tell that story. So as they're leaving, they've asked me all the questions. As the FBI and IRS people are leaving, they're like, hey, don't talk about this at all publicly, please. And I'm like, yo, of course, yeah. No, obviously, you're the FBI. Of course, I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to interfere with the investigation in any way. But also, like, when could I talk about it? Like, how long do you think before I am allowed to? And they said, we'll let you know. So I've been biting my tongue for years, not talking about it, hinting at it a little bit, but
it took
not
4 years.
Anything too serious.
Damn.
But since then, a lot of the dominoes have started to fall. At first, when the scam was happening, PayPal stopped working with them, so they'd switched to this only non-refundable direct transfer thing with Klarna, and then they stopped working with them too, and then eventually the whole operation starts falling down. And the guy at the head of it, named Olaf Gustafsson, this guy finally ends up getting arrested and going to prison in Spain for fraud and money laundering and a bunch of other things, basically for everything that I talked about in those videos. So I've been holding on to this, not really knowing, like, okay, is it that I...
Is this him?
This guy finally ends up...
He doesn't look like a trustworthy person. I'm gonna be honest, if it's this dude. Gramps over here. I don't know. I think I would trust Gramps more than this dude. Because, why would carry Gramps? Like, why would he scam? You got that 401k, bro.
Getting arrested and going to prison in Spain for fraud and money laundering and a bunch of other things, basically for everything that I talked about in those videos. So I've been holding on to this, not really knowing, like, okay, is it cool now that he's behind bars to talk about it. So we actually reached back out to those same FBI agents because they left their cards. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, it's cool now to talk about it. You're totally fine. So there unfortunately is no footage of any of this incident. But there is these papers, which they provided as proof that they received property to be used as evidence in the case. So one Pablo Escobar Fold 2 mobile flip phone, aka Samsung, and one Pablo Escobar Gold 11 Pro mobile phone, aka iPhone 11 Pro. But hey, now you basically know the story. Yeah, pretty serious business out here making videos about phones sometimes, you know? Apparently, also, if this guy, Olaf, ever does get charged in the United States, then it's very likely my videos would show up somewhere in those court documents, which is crazy. And also
a full a full ass video in court, bro.
the phones that they
That's
took
funny.
may show up as evidence. But yeah, I do want to get back into a little more of the more investigative, deep dive type of videos. Obviously, the giant scams don't happen very often, thankfully, in the tech world, but still, they are fascinating stories when they do. By the way, that's not the only encounter that we've had with the FBI in running this YouTube channel, but that's another story for another day.
No, speak.
But hey, if you want more fun stories like this one, let me know in the comments. But also, the latest episode, the bonus episode of the Waveform podcast is just story.
Yeah, that was Marques Brownlee, the GOAT. Interesting story. Hopefully he talks more about the other scenarios too.